My goodness gracious. I don't listen to Patty Gasso. I don't think I've only heard her a couple times. I found her repulsive, and I just stopped listening to her, so I don't bother with it anymore.
Well, that was 2
Yeah.
years ago
Yeah.
when we ran it at the old place.
Yeah. Yeah. She's something.
Yeah.
She's something. I'll give her credit for this. I did see in passing in the story that she said they wouldn't apologize for their celebratory ways. Good. Well, if you're going to do it, just embrace it. Just be it. Go ahead and be the heel.
I told you, man, that it's over the top. It is taunting. It is egregious. It is bat flips for intentional walks.
Oh, no, I know. And spikes and and points and all that. Yeah. No, I saw. But my point would be, like, if you've decided to do that, if that's who you are, if you're going to let kids do, then do it. Just do it. Just keep doing it. Obviously, it agitates people. I mean, at that point, just embrace the bad guy. Just be who you are. We hate it when people try to fake it. Like, I'd rather just get it all out there in the open. Let me know who you are. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're Steve Spurrier, be Steve Spurrier.
Be Steve Spurrier.
No half measures.
Yeah. You chide, you do it. You do whatever you got to do. You take your shots. You have some fun with it, unapologetically.
The funniest thing she said was over the weekend, something along the lines of, after the Stanford win, we've run ruled a lot of teams, and it's just not the same. These are the games that you remember, not the times that we've run ruled opponents out here. Fair enough.
Well done.
That you have.
That's kind of funny.
But so have we.
Yeah. No, but that's kind of funny, by the way. I have to give him credit for that. That's some stuff maybe you and I would do. Like, we've had a lot of wins out here. Some of them so lopsided, I forget that we even played the game.
Yeah. Like Tiger could say that.
Oh, yeah.
When
I won by 13 strokes.
Pebble in 97.
I was the only one. Was I the only one under par?
This 15th major in my 40s.
I was the only one.
This is the one. The one where I didn't hit driver all week.
Yeah. That was the stinger. That was the stinger week.
Made it harder.
No. I was bored. Those kinds of moments are funny. When I needed to, was funny. You're clearly taking a shot right there at the dais at Sergio Garcia in the moment.
If they didn't fix Augusta, I would have gone driver, 7-iron, and wedge. That's what I would have played the next.
So it is tonight, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. You can listen to it here on the radio. That is a good thing. Tallahassee's WCWS home plate, thanks to Wooden Glass. Good job. So what are you serving tonight for dinner for the big game?
Ooh, well, it's going to be a Taco Wednesday. That's what we're having tonight.
By the way, people could talk about a Taco Tuesday, but I would encourage tacos on any day of the week.
Yeah, we had them last night.
Delicious.
But sometimes the meat turns quickly, so I just figured when we did the rundown for the week, why don't we just go back-to-back nights? Besides, we make the pico. Well, Jamie makes the pico, and it largely goes unused, leftovers. But if you go back-to-back nights, you're going to use everything, all of your resources. It's a way to get 1% better.
So did I see this today? Sadly, I did. Damn it, man. Rest in peace, the Iron Sheik.
Oh, man.
Today. Legend. And it's of my era. I love the Iron Sheik. I love the Iron Sheik as a bad guy. I loved him. I used to love that people hated him in ways that were unimaginable. And the danger involved in embracing all of that. It was incredible. It felt unsettling at times when he, when you go back to early 80s and Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. Like, I remember, I remember thinking somebody's going to get stabbed. These fans are unhinged. They don't realize it's fake. They think he really hates America. But yeah, man. And by the way, he was a Greco-Roman wrestler, like a badass, like a really legitimate badass.
Yeah, he was built that way. You could tell those Greco-Roman guys, they've got a stoutness to them, not a steroid to them.
Yeah.
He had the stout look.
He was a freak.
His final tweet of his life, do you know what it was?
Oh, I'm sure it was perfect.
F the wildfires. In all caps.
How great is that? Oh, my goodness. Well, rest in peace indeed. If you're of a certain age, you remember the Iron Sheik like it was yesterday. Yeah, he had a second life. We've seen the documentary, all of the incredible moments post Twitter fame, and that happened by accident. His handler helped him. And then he leaned into it, embraced it. He was broke at the time. It turned back into a very lucrative thing.
Last one, I promise. The penultimate tweet of his life. Whoever let the dogs out can go F yourself. Always in all caps.
I remember so when I was a kid, and so you got to remember this. So this is 82, 83, 84. Man, I rooted for every bad guy there was. I would piss off my neighborhood friends because I loved Rowdy Roddy Piper. I loved the Iron Sheik. I loved the Missing Link. I loved anybody that was bad. The more evil you were, the better. I wanted you to cheat. I wanted you to pull a foreign object out of your pants. I wanted you to like summon the help of 15 people while you locked the doors and pretended to break Dusty Rhodes' leg. I wanted all of it. Like the Horsemen, I wanted all of that stuff to happen because I remember my favorite part about it was looking around in the stands when we went to events or watching them with people and seeing how the anger, it was so real. Piper's Pit was one of my favorite things of all time. And when the Iron Sheik was on Piper's Pit, it was incredible. Like, these two guys are gods. They're infuriating the masses.
I grew up in a different era of wrestling, but it was no less edgy. Oddly enough, it was still very edgy in the late 90s.
And it's sucked forever now.
It has. But Stone Cold was the anti-hero. You loved him.
Right.
And he did crazy stuff, like dousing everybody in the corporate landscape with a beer truck.
Yeah.
Went all over the ring. But then the NWO was the beginning of my time, too. It was the Monday Night Wars, 1997, 1998. And they would pull out stun guns in a tag team match. A guy would get tossed to the one side of the ring. Hulk Hogan would distract the ref doing something crazy. And then a stun gun to the kidney. And the guy goes down 1, 2, 3. Stuff like that. Foreign objects, man.
Foreign objects were the ones. But the camel clutch, man. And he'd get people in the camel clutch. It was like when Mr. Wonderful would get people in the figure four, Paul Orndorff. When the guys would do that stuff, man, I was like, yes. And pile drivers, which were, those were the number one thing. You got somebody, and you pile drive somebody, it was over. I was like, oh, you're going to break his neck. Here we go. So most of these guys, they're dying off. That's a long life for a wrestler. That is a very long life for a wrestler. I wouldn't have guessed Iron Sheik, because those stories are legendary. Those guys traveling across the country in a car, cases of beer, just drinking all night long on their way to the next stop, staying in a hotel, getting up, wrestling, doing it again the next night, 700 miles away. Nobody's sober for months on end. Those are crazy stories. It was more than just beer. A whole lot of stuff going on.
Oh, there was a lot.
There was a lot.
In places we don't talk about.
Yeah. All right. So we feeling good tonight? I don't know. I there's no doubt we are, in fact, immense underdogs despite our talent, despite how good we are. That's the way that, Oklahoma has built this thing. They are an absolute force of nature, but they can be beat. And this is a really good Florida State team that is brimming with confidence. One would think your superstars have to be superstars. And when you face, an opponent of this magnitude, their fourth and fifth and sixth best players are all elite. So your stars have to be transcendent.
In the event you wish to wager on tonight's game, there is a line. There is one. Florida State is a 3-1 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma is minus 390.
Makes sense. It makes sense. The
minus 400 for Oklahoma to win the Women's College World Series. Florida State again paying out 3-1.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you win 51 straight games, you're a juggernaut. That's all there's no getting around that. This would be a cool, I try to toe the line because on the one hand, trying to paint this as a magnificent upset discredits how good Florida State is. Trying to paint this as against all odds Hoosiers type moment is unfair to Florida State. They've got a lot of talent as well. Sandercock is an elite softball player.
And has gone to a different level these last couple months.
Right. So, I don't want in a sport, bat-to-ball sports are unique this way. If you have a star, if you have a unique, transcendent talent on the hill, you can control the game. You can win the game despite every other position player being better for the opposing team, perhaps. Perhaps that's true. You can still, you're painting the black all night. You're keeping people off balance all night. You win. We've seen this time and again. Obviously, we think about it in Major League Baseball when the last place team beats the first place team, and it's the guy on the hill that usually does it. They don't beat them 11-10. It's typically somebody is dealing.
Well, I think the other development that is really good for Florida State's chances is the depth in the lineup. Bottom of the lineup's hitting now for power in all places. Edenfield looks like the freshman version of herself. She's found her form in Oklahoma City. I mean, home run power for days. We all know that. But what she showed the other night, I thought the broadcast nailed it, was she's fooled. She's reading one pitch, it's another one, but has the strength to basically golf it out all upper body to left center. You're going to need things like that because you're going to get fooled against Oklahoma. You're going to need to get outs with runners on the base paths. We're going to have to clean up defensively a little bit. But then you're also going to get, if you're going to win this series, contributions from 1 through 9 in a lineup. Got to have it. But when people like Waycaser hit a home run and you got another home run from Bethany Keene, it's her first since 2021, you're going to have 3 or 4 of those moments.
Those kind of moments,
You're going to have to stack those together in order to win 2 out of 3 from Oklahoma.
Good job from our own Irish FL, Warchant.com. Go read the article with the comments. Unbelievably grateful. You'll see the headline, FSU softball players take a moment to celebrate their coach, Lonnie Almeida. And, I talk a lot about this. This is not a softball story. We talk about those teams that play really hard for coaches. And, those are always teams that are fun to embrace because if you like the coach, that is. And Coach Alameda is eminently likable, to say the least. But one of the things that always seems to stand out there is this familial sort of feel to a locker room, to a team, to a group that is playing well, playing together, and celebrating each other. Those stories are things that we can all relate to. We've all had happy work environments, terrible work environments. We've been on teams in our youth or later that we loved, and teams that we were sort of indifferent about. And usually there was this ability to kind of cultivate a culture that is, I don't know, accepting of a wide array of personalities and diverse backgrounds and, just groups that you wouldn't ordinarily associate with one another. A kid from the Midwest and a kid from South Florida, a kid from the Northeast, and black, white, Hispanic, you name it, whatever it might be, and then that all comes together and everybody feels included. Everybody feels good. Everybody feels wanted. Everybody has a role to play. Everybody understands and associates that. And Lonnie Almeida has done that. When you listen to the comments of these players, almost all of it begins with the transformation from their earliest. So as a freshman, I felt this way. I was a little uncertain. I wasn't sure who I was. I was this, I was that, but she allowed me to be me. She allowed me to do this. The team incorporated all of that. I mean, as a leader, understanding what your job is and expressly letting players know the expectations. We talk about this a lot about Leonard Hamilton, creating in a culture a certain way of operating. Now, you can be free to be whoever you are, and you can be free to whatever your personality is. You can be an introvert, extrovert, whatever it might be, but you are going to do these things, and in that way, we're all the same and come together at the right moments, and that creates a bond and a love.
Yeah, it's the difference, the principal difference between Oklahoma and Florida State as programs and the way they carry themselves. Oklahoma carries themselves as an in-your-face program. Florida State carries itself as a for all of us, we're all in this together program. And that's what they exude on the field together. That's the difference between the two programs. Look, Florida State in different sports over different periods of time have been in your face.
We were the 2014,
2013.
Well, the 2014 was the team that wasn't likable by the rest of the country, and I understood that. And in some ways, we didn't like them.
Their status was ZZZ. They were sleeping through 3 quarters.
Yeah, they didn't take their opponents seriously. There was no respect shown to many of the teams that they faced. There was this sense that we can just turn it on and make a play. And they did. They did the entire season until they met Oregon and turned it over 47 times. But the point would be that wasn't all that likable a bunch. We've had our own. That's true. Oklahoma's not likable. The bully seldom is. I think what happens, and I always wonder about it, in some ways we'll be watching this Florida State football team in this way, hopefully hopefully this becomes a question. Once you arrive at a place of greatness and it's sustained for long periods of time, you are going to be on the wrong end of the vast majority of vitriol from fans all across the country because you're too successful. See Alabama. Let Georgia go ahead and have another great year. People about done with Georgia, right? This is what happens to teams that are great. And it ends up going one of two ways eventually. If you're a part of the greatness, if you're part of the dominant program, at some point, you build up such a shield and you're able to deflect all that and laugh at it that you embrace it and become bad guys or bad girls. You're like, okay, well, bring it. What? We're just better. You don't like that? Or no, you somehow find a way to remain humble. I want to find out how difficult it is to remain humble by going back to back to back to back to back years into the college football playoffs and winning national championships. I want to find out whether Lonnie Alameda's team could remain humble after they win back-to-back national championships and thwart, obviously, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it makes sense that that's a way to maintain your edge. If you're Oklahoma.
At some point,
psychologically speaking,
you're hated already.
If you're going to win 59 out of 60 softball games, I mean, my God, you've got to do something to maintain the edge. You've got to find a slight. You've got to create a monster where there is none. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Still, screw them eternally. Screw them.
Agreed.
Because we're doing it a different way. And we've only lost a couple ball games in the last couple of months.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm saying, and I know that this won't be back-to-back for Florida State. I understand. I'm saying I want them to win this year and again next year and then transition to the most hated team in college softball. I want that transition. I want to watch it. I want to see how they're able to do it. It would be fun because that's a level of dominance that you want to get to in all sports. I mean, it's really difficult to ascend to that place. Florida State has a chance tonight to be all the more special. And they are embraced, I think. I can't imagine unless you are an Oklahoma graduate or fan of some sort and, you want your teams to win national championships. Obviously, outside of that, I would think anybody that roots for anybody else will be rooting for Florida State tonight. I know where we are, and I know how loud it's going to be. It will be a home game for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that anybody else ought to be rooting for Florida State.
Yes, what I find interesting is we know this from the Alabama series a couple of years ago, certainly. Beth Mowins doesn't seem to be on board with Florida State.
I think she's in. I don't know. I feel like Beth is indifferent. I don't really.
But the desk that they have is on board with FSU. You heard them when they had the highlights fail after the game against Tennessee. And so they just had to vamp and go on. And what were they talking about? The culture of Florida State, how it hits different.
Yeah.
How there's a different kind of togetherness that they have, and that's a program that you can really rally behind. Those talking points on the desk, I think, in the state of Oklahoma, playing against the Sooners, some people that are of the national media are like, all right, enough of this. I like this. They're a lot more likable than Patty Gasso's ragtag bunch of
I don't think
first players.
Me
first players. Look at these kids. They're all together. They're all in this as one. I want that team to win. You could feel that energy coming through a little bit.
So when is it we're rolling it out, and how are we doing the top 40? We got anything today, or is that tonight? What's going on here tonight?
It's going to be rolling out the next day. We are determining independent verification, making sure that all calculations are in order so that no player is slighted. But we have all the lists, so we can discuss our lists about guys that might have just missed the cut or not. We can do that today if you want.
I'm in on that. I just think it's funny how serious this has gotten now, but it's a better list because we have good players. So that's all I care about. It's a better list because we have good players. It's a nice way of saying it.
I think next year with the roster that's going to be kind of close to this, I don't know if it'll be this top heavy with veteran talent. We'd have to go into the portal and make it happen again. But we probably need to go 50 deep and then use 40. So that way we know the guys that just missed the cut based on points.
What a good time. What a good time in transition for Florida State football. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Conferences to call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services, comfort's just a call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services, comfort's just a call away. Parker Services, comfort's just a call away.
Zaxby's new chicken bacon. Ranch chicken ranch. Ranch bacon. Chicken bacon ranch bacon. Loaded fries. Sorry, cheese. You're important too. Woo, saucy. Zaxby's.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Discover the taste of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
With Walt Deptula, Tom, we'll be going all things Florida State Clemson.
What do they got going on down there?
Mhm. He is awoken from his slumber to want to talk about Florida State a little bit, and I'm just the man to do it. So I'll be on airwaves up there in South Carolina talking Florida State.
Well, I got to tell you, Jeff, I've been looking at the two deep. I'm very impressed with what I see down there.
I think a lot of people are. I think it's the realization that the conference is no longer a foregone conclusion that is, I think, now agreed upon. Maybe not who's going to win, but agreed upon that this thing has gotten far more interesting in the last couple of years, in particular after last year, than it's been in a long time. And that's good. That's good. And that's because we're good. We're really good. how good, again, touched on it a moment ago, when we had to put together the top 40 list, and you and I both had to do that here recently, I had to admit I kind of left some guys off my list that I was shocked by. I was, to be honest with you, I thought, man, I hate leaving this guy off the list. When you got down to the bottom, in some cases, and you're looking at players, I don't want to give it away because we're gonna unveil this kind of across shows, and we're gonna compare and contrast and do it that way. And wake up, we'll do 5, and I'll do 5, and we'll go back and forth every day with this, or 10. I don't know how we're doing it, but
What about me?
you're on the show here,
Oh,
man.
yeah, okay.
So
It's the royal eye.
yeah, so we're gonna do this, and we'll have a good time with it. We'll talk about this. But I will say, I saw your list. You've seen my list. I had DJ Lundy on my list. You did not. That might come as a surprise to people.
Yeah, I know. This is my number one. Probably should have done that differently. I only put 2 linebackers in the top 40.
We don't have good ones, so I understand the dearth of linebackers on your list.
It's because I don't know who the third one is going to be. But then I've got Ayo Tafasi on my list fairly high because I think he can be that type of an impact player at 15 to 20 snaps a game. I do. However, that's only 15 to 20 snaps a game, and that's probably the 6th or the 7th defensive tackle that I put on the list. Probably should have put a third linebacker before a 6th defensive tackle, but I just don't know who that third guy is going to be. Could be Lundy. Omar Graham had a good finish to spring, so it could be that he's trending in the right direction. Hard to say. It's hard to say. What I do know, though, is that Tafasi profiles to be an impact player, so that's probably why I rewarded him. But when I was looking at the list and seeing who some of you guys put on there, I thought, probably should have put a third linebacker in the top 40 of this team.
Yeah. And listen, there's still, we don't know what's going to happen with Nicholson. We don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these guys that are coming in and had to learn in the spring or weren't even here in the spring in some cases. And how quickly they can have an impact on the field, and how do you define an impact? 10 snaps a game, is that a big enough impact to make your top 40? I would say so. Yeah, I would say if you're playing 10 to 15 snaps a game, you probably are. But how many of those young guys are going to be out there for that? Omar Graham kind of, I think, profiles pretty well to be on that kind of a list of 6 to 12 snaps a game.
Correct. He had a good finish to spring practice. The stadium day, not the spring game, but the stadium day, he made a couple of standout plays. And Coach Norvell talked more effusively about Omar Graham towards the end of camp. And that was somebody that they hyped before spring even started. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. There was a certain offensive lineman that they were begging.
2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No longer here.
No longer here. Yeah. Well, yeah. Didn't work out. And it was pretty obvious. One was said about, this is an important camp for him.
Yes.
And you and I watched that camp and went, that's a failed test.
Yeah.
That is a failed test.
Probably about 5 or 6 practices. You never know. You never know. Every time that you've got another practice, it's a chance for the light bulb to come on. But for Omar Graham, I think it's a different story. And that could change things. If Omar Graham, DeMarco Ward, obviously Blake Nicholson, if these guys end up being productive reserves for Florida State, then maybe you can flip your reputation in the linebacker room the way you have in so many other rooms on this roster.
Well, every year we do this, you end up having to project that somebody's going to take a massive step forward to justify where you have them ranked. There's going to be a player who so far has either not even done a thing for Florida State because they were elsewhere, or they haven't started yet, or they haven't been in a game yet, but yet you project them to do great things. A perfect example of that would be a guy that I think most people would vote somewhere in their top 10, and I don't want to give away these things, but Darrell Jackson has yet to play it down for Florida State. Darrell Jackson has played college football. You've seen him play college football. You know what he looks like. You know how he projects, but he hasn't played for Florida State. I'm projecting that if Darrell Jackson gets the waiver, first of all, that he needs to be eligible to play football, and secondly, plays to his ability, that is to suggest that he is focused and cares and recognizes that this is his money year and that he needs to go and produce something of a resume on tape in big moments of big college football games. If that is to happen, Darrell Jackson could be an elite impact player for you. He could be potentially your very best defensive lineman. But those are a lot of ifs. I'm entrusting Darrell Jackson with a lot of responsibility that he has yet to show that he's capable of handling. And that I mean, he's a mystery man. You've got the waiver aspect in all of this, and you've got the fact that he's twice a transfer already in his young career. Already twice a transfer.
Yeah.
You don't know whether or not he's going to be eligible and whether or not he cares to play real hard and focused.
That's the thing. That's why I've got personally Fabian higher than Daryl. I ding him for the consistency question. But that doesn't mean that Daryl's not in the top 10, because of what the potential is. And if he plays to his ability, the snap count is going to be as robust as any in that rotation. They're going to rotate. The starter thing doesn't matter to me. I never cared about starting, especially at a position like that. If you've got 80 snaps to distribute a game across 2 defensive tackles, and I know Adam Fuller wants some sets where he's got 3 on the field, but let's just say 2 on the field for 80 snaps. Fabian Lovett has to get the most, and I think Daryl Jackson has to get the most. And then from there, it's Farmer. From there, it's however you want to fill it out. Remember, Malcolm Ray is also on this team as well.
Yeah, he's not high.
But it's Fisk, it's Farmer, it's Briggs, Tafasi, Ray. But at the top, if they're playing consistently, it's got to be Daryl Jackson and Fabian Lovett. It's just got to be. So that's why for me he's a top 10 guy. But I don't know that he's as high on my list as he was on yours because of the consistency question.
Well, what you've done here though is right. You bring up a player that it's impossible to know what he's going to be in Braden Fisk. He's going to be on everybody's list. He's never played it down here. Hell, I doubt very seriously many of us voting on this spent a lot of time watching his career at Western Michigan. We've seen him in a uniform. We watched him go through drills in practice that did not involve contact. So it was all about endurance. We just saw what he looked like in a uniform and projected that we think he's going to be good based on the career he had at Western Michigan. But again, it's a big step up into the Power 5. There's just a lot of stuff there that I think is in the category of unknown and makes this list fun, makes this debate fun. And, you can hardly blame people if you're going to project that somebody's going to have a good year based on need, based on skill set, and perhaps you got a sense of spring that was an indicator or portends of something great for the fall.
Yeah, look at Braden Fisk's place on our lists, and it's in no particular order. You and me and Corey and Aslan and Ira and Gene. These are the people that comprise the list this year. Braden Fisk is in some people's top 10. He's not in some people's top 20, which I think is fair when you have that big of a question mark and you also have a rotation there. If it was only Fabian Lovett and Braden Fisk and your next guy in line was Malcolm Ray, then Fisk to me would be much higher on my list. I've got him a little bit lower compared to the rest of the
problem with this, and I'll just compare these two players, neither of which have played it down in a football game for Florida State, and they both play the same position. Braden Fisk is not the physical specimen that Daryl Jackson is. Daryl Jackson is a freak. Nobody on this team looks like Daryl Jackson. Nobody, not Fabian, not anybody. So when we're projecting 2 guys that haven't played it down for us, one played at Miami, one played at Western Michigan, one's a physical freak and the other is not.
But he's freakish in his own way, though.
He's fast for a big guy, for example. He runs sprints against Norvell and he's quick.
Those 2 guys profile well together on the field.
They do. Listen, I think what happens when you start talking about Braden Fisk, and I'm, by the way, kind of privately in the Braden Fisk fan club because I think based on fast twitch, size, all of that, he projects very well. I agree. I think that is a very good pickup for Florida State. I think that's true. But I also I'm careful when we do these lists or I'm careful when we talk about what we think is going to happen when the year starts. If you've got Braden Fisk in your top 10, I think that's a list of incredibly hopeful projections. You can't. How do you have that guy in your top 10? I'm not talking about you.
I don't. He's not in my top 20.
He's not in my top 20. I think Braden Fisk might end up being a top 10 type player for us this year.
He could be. That's the thing.
Could be. But man, it feels an awful lot like I'm just hoping that this guy is everything we need him to be and not really what you saw him to be at Western Michigan. Let's not forget he's coming off of an injury. He's had to rehab a shoulder.
Yeah.
I like Braden Fisk. He's going to serve a valuable role for Florida State. He may end up being very good, but I can't project him into the top 10. when he's coming off of an injury and hasn't, he played at Western Michigan.
I understand that. And like there are times when you'll take a swing for the downs based upon my gut is telling me to do X, Y, and Z. For example, last year, I didn't have Johnny Wilson in my top 20. A couple of our staff members did. By the end of the season, they were right. We all had Micah Pittman, I think, entirely as a staff, Micah Pittman as a top wide receiver because of the information that we knew at the time.
Well, and we also saw him in the spring and how good he looked.
Right. Well, I mean, Johnny wasn't awful in the spring.
Yeah,
but
he was okay. He dropped everything, but other than that,
everything.
I mean, a lot of steady
he wasn't
drops.
in my top 20. All I'm saying is by year's end, who looks correct? The person who had Johnny Wilson in their top 10 or not?
Well,
that's the thing is you take some swings. You take some swings at this. And Micah Pittman should not have been in the top 5, and he was in everybody's top 5. That was incorrect. So this is what happens after 12 more games of information. You'd have to do some projecting, and then sometimes guys develop that you don't think we're going to, and some guys regress that you thought for sure were going to be linchpins of a rotation and a 2-deep.
I'm having a hard. I'm trying to think of, the thing with Micah. Yeah.
Pokey ended up being, in terms of receiving production. Now, Micah as a total package was very valuable to the team because he was a blocker. He was unselfish. He brought that aura of toughness to the room. Like he was very useful, but we all had him as our top receiver, and I just don't. That's not so. That's not the way it played out.
P. Simpson, where is Daryl Jackson's waiver on the top 40 list? Number 1. It's number 1 on all of our top 40 lists. I don't know. I can't give a good answer on that. I get it all the time. Hey, man, you hearing anything new on that waiver? No. The NCAA does not consult with me about where they are in the process on the waiver, and we don't right now have access to the coaches. And if we did, I don't think they'd tell us. I think they'd say, we feel good about it. We feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, what Ira has said is that according to sources close to, Florida State compliance department and so forth, that they believe this is a cookie cutter, rubber stamp, move on kind of thing. But it's the NCAA. That's the problem. Is it might be precedent wise, but this is the NCAA, and they keep their own counsel for everything. Look at Baba Miller. Common sense would say, why the hell would you suspend that kid for 16 games? He paid back his debt. He's an international. He had no idea. We don't care. It was going to be a full season, so we'll give you 16. Really? Okay.
So it was another reminder of something you didn't need a reminder of, and that is that the NCAA is wildly inconsistent and fraught with corruption and ignorance and stupidity. Tom writes, how many tight ends made your gentleman's top 40 list? 3. 3 for me.
Who's your second tight end?
That was the best question, wasn't it? I wrestled with it when you said, let me go back and look. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did. I ended up going with Marquiston Douglas as my second tight end.
He's more versatile for what we need.
He's also been here longer. He's already proven it in games, and he's a different kind of tight end. He's going to play a lot. And I think Biscuit's a real difference maker, especially against zone. He's a problem. I like him a lot. Yeah, so he's my second.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not that Morlock doesn't have a lot of usefulness in this offense. He is a receiving mismatch. And over time, he's got 2 years of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that a lot of these kids want to come in here and go one and done.
Go to the league.
Keandre Jones is one of those on the offensive line. Hey, guys, if you hang around for another year in this offense and Jaheim Bell's gone and a couple of these interior offensive linemen are gone, you now can be the star. So I think this is a chance for both Marquiston and then Kyle Morlock to springboard to next year. Then what they can do is say to Landon Thomas, the 5-star all everything, this is how it's done, young man. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And now you're going to be the star, and they pass the torch. That's how these things work.
Go sell it, Tom Wayne. Go sell it to these kids.
Go sell it to Moses.
McCray on the bike. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Some walkers and bikers in Tallahassee say they are nervous to share the road with drivers. Now, a renewed program with the Tallahassee Police Department and a local nonprofit are doing their parts in educating more people to make traveling around the capital city safer. According to TPD, there were 77 pedestrians and 35 bicyclist traffic crashes citywide over the last 6 months. Tallahassee is one of the top 15 cities in the state for traffic crashes resulting in serious or fatal injuries for pedestrians and bicyclists. 8 pedestrians and 1 bicyclist died last year due to those traffic crashes. So far, 4 pedestrians and 1 bicyclist have died this year. TPD is renewing their High Visibility Enforcement, or HVE, detail that focuses on educating motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists. Detective Harris believes the new HVE detail in the fall will still include a majority of the areas they patrolled last time, with the exception of expanding their detail along more of Appalachia Parkway. This is Rachel Lene with World Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 87 this afternoon under cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms likely. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tonight, lows around 69, clear skies. Chance for scattered storms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 91, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 81.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the 3rd one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The FSU softball team is once again in the College World Series, and you can hear all the exciting play-by-play action right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Double play, ball game over. Seminoles survive.
Cheer on the FSU Seminoles softball team tonight at 7:45 p.m. Sponsored by Tallahassee Talks with Brian Cerny. Local conversations with local influencers every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. It's Seminoles softball in the World Series tonight at 7:45, only on Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. Most of the time it is, but there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans on your side and in your corner. They'll go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment for first responders, vets, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. That's not all. Shannon is an expert navigating the home loan terrain. You can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates, guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young. There you go. There you go. Damn it, man. The Iron Sheik died. I'm mad about that today. There's been a lot of things going down lately, man. I'm a little shook.
A lot of death.
Yeah. Some real tragedy and some close, some not so much, and some at a distance like this one, but we got to slow our roll, everybody. Let's everybody all right? Let's check on each other. Everybody okay? Feeling okay, Tom? You all right?
Yeah.
Everybody all right?
My dad's brother-in-law passed away last week. He called me and said, I think for your aunt, she's actually relieved. It's been years and years of this. I said, have we gotten to that point where I'm going to be getting these calls of, it was actually for the best? As everybody gets older, you hear that more. in their descriptors of when somebody passes.
By the way, it's been years with this is one of my all-time favorites. It's been years with this.
Yeah.
Sickness.
Well, yeah. Apparently, she was carrying the weight of the world, which is very difficult. That's why those vows are tough sometimes.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Yeah, let me guess, you're sick. You gonna tell me you're sick? Again? Years with this.
Yeah. That was like one of our former interns who was always sick, always had a cold, always sneezing.
I don't have a ton of patience.
For
with that.
sneezing.
I don't have a lot of patience with those that are incessantly sick. I'm just always kind of like, let's get it together, guys. Let's get it together. And, I know enough to walk away and not say anything because that person doesn't want to be sick. But I'm thinking it.
My seasonals have only gotten worse, and I'm glad that we're not in the original ESPN studio because it was a divider, not a separate room. The past two studios we've had are proper, as separate rooms, but you would not have taken to that very well.
Who are the players? We got asked this in the chat on this list that made the list, but are much further down this year than they were a year ago. That's actually a fun question. Shows you again that we continue to raise the floor. And you have an opportunity to see kids pass others and yet still be of value. They just aren't starters. They're just or if they are starters, their role has been lessened because we've been able to infiltrate the roster with real talent, difference-making talent. Just wait till you see Keon Coleman, everybody. That was a fun one to try to list on this, to put this in this top 40 list as well. Keon Coleman.
Yeah, a few that stand out. Ja'Kai Douglas was somewhere towards the middle of several lists last year, and he snuck in on mine because when you have that kind of speed and you're going to be the fifth guy on the field if they go empty, or the fourth if they've got Trey Benson in the backfield, I mean, you're going to be wide open.
Yeah, he didn't make my list.
I don't think he did last year either.
Nah, I don't feel anything about him.
Dennis Briggs fell on my list. He's still on it, and I think he's an important piece. It's just I don't know where the hell he fits, and I don't know that they do.
Yeah, I don't know what they do either. I like Dennis Briggs. I think he's versatile. I think he's finally healthy, so we'll see. He made my list for sure.
I think I had AZ Thomas higher last year.
Well, we fell in love with him, and he's way down on my list this year too, but he did make it. I need him to take a big step. I hope he takes it out on us. I hope he's frustrated. I hope he sees the list and says, what the hell, man?
Akeem Dent down on the list from last year. Still going to start, but down on the list.
Well, he's proven over a large swath of football games that he belongs way down there.
Here's one for you. Kevin Knowles. That's probably
didn't make my list.
Yeah. And he would have absolutely been a part of everybody's list last year. And it might have been injury. And maybe he comes back and everything is A-okay, and he looks like the player that he could have been or he projected to be as his freshman season went about. But Kevin Knowles plummeted from year over year.
I think what you get with a lot of players, and we talk about how many of these guys are dealing with being nicked up or a little bruised and battered. You get guys playing through things, and then sometimes that affects their confidence. And we got some players that are no longer on this roster, that are no longer on this program. There's guys that are playing at Colorado. Pretty much anybody who couldn't cut it here, fell off a cliff, didn't play good football, was a malcontent, ended up at Colorado. And so those guys are guys that kind of, went from being very high on this list to out of the program, falling into the laps of Deion Sanders. There you go. Our scraps are headed your way, big guy. Hey, we got another guy that failed here. You want him? I know you do.
If you could retain either two Colorado players, either McClendon or Brendan Gant, who would you have retained?
Brendan Gant. I don't like our linebacking core, and I think we need the kind of versatility that he gave that linebacking core. He could cover. He could cover. Yeah, I would say Brendan Gant. I think you kind of replaced McClendon with a McClendon kind of. You replaced him with a guy that was him, and that's why he was pissed to begin with.
Gilbert showed some signs towards the end of spring, but I don't know. We'll see. That's a we'll see.
That what I think is odd was that ever happened. That any of this ever happened.
It says a little bit, doesn't it?
They kind of, yeah. It Yeah, because here's the deal, man. McClendon was going to play, and he's going to play a significant role. He was a good football player. He mattered. He was a rotational piece, not an elite player, not a difference maker in the sense that, you go into games and offensive coordinators are worried about McClendon. That was not the case, without question. But, he wasn't so important to your step forward this year that you were going to bend over backwards for him. And if he was difficult and thought his value was greater, and you had another player who was physically his mirror available to you.
Yeah. Age-wise, physically, the mirror. I just don't know if he is athletically equal. He might be a little bit lower on the totem pole. We'll see. There's not enough information yet. But I'll be interested to see how Gilbert Edmond looks in fall camp. Because McClendon every once in a while would be shot out of a cannon. I didn't see that too much from Edmond in spring.
I think the thing about McClendon was he probably got it in his ear that he had opportunities financially, and this is something we're going to deal with every year. And you're never really going to have the whole picture. I think a lot of times you try to be careful with that, but I don't. I think he thought he could get a lot more money than he ended up getting. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub? Now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
For about 50 years, Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses for thousands of people right here in the Big Bend, and we're quite proud of that. Fact is, all of us here at Paul's have families, and nothing is more important to us than their protection. By providing effective termite and pest treatments, we know we're aiding many right here in our community.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control performs many services designed for the protection of your family and your home. Programs like Pro Shield Complete, which encompasses termite and general pest control in one low-cost quarterly treatment plan. This program is environmentally friendly and is almost exclusively limited to exterior treatments, meaning pests and termites never enter your home. Termite programs like Centricon, a service which requires no invasive drilling or liquid applications. Plus, our lawn care team keeps lawns and ornamentals green and healthy.
Protection of your family, your home, and our environment all are very important to each of us at Paul's. To learn more about our many programs, please visit us at callpauls.com.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The NBA Finals shifting to Miami for Game 3 of the series tonight. The series is even at 1 game apiece after Denver won Game 1 and Miami won Game 2. Denver is considered a 2.5-point favorite tonight. The over-under at 214.5. Overall, Denver a minus 270 favorite to win the series, while Miami pays out at plus 220. Baseball this evening, the Tampa Bay Rays match up against the Minnesota Twins. Sean Armstrong on the mound for the Rays, who pay out at minus 142. The Twins pay out at plus 120. The Marlins host the Royals tonight. Edward Cabrera on the mound for the Marlins, who are minus 164 favorites.
For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tell incoming flights you want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials light trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials light trap, insecticide-free protection.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
Those stomach issues ruined your birthday?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Discover the taste of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You have to work and you're going to be out and about and you're not able to get your eyes on a set somewhere to watch the Noles upset Oklahoma and win game one, putting themselves on the precipice of winning the national championship again, well, then you can listen to it right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio. That's right. Our guys have it for you. Looking forward to it. We want to thank our friends at Wooden Glass for sponsoring this Real Talk 93.3 College World Series, Oklahoma City, Florida State, Oklahoma, tonight, right here live on the air. There you go. There you go. And I think, did I miss? No, there's nothing. Do we have anything coming up tonight on Warchant TV prior to that? Do we have a show?
Yes, Wake Up Warchant.
Okay, I was right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You read the trades, the internal memos, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. as I have it.
Wake Up Warchant tonight, 6 o'clock. The fellows will be talking about this and much more. And there we go. We'll be good. So we're loaded up. We're all good. And I'm excited to see the game tonight. Hopefully that goes well. I would guess that we would be all mildly surprised tomorrow if we reconvene and Florida State won. I think we would be.
Mildly pleased.
Well, I'd be more than mildly pleased. I'd be wildly enthusiastic. Then it becomes real. Then it feels like it's real, oddly.
So I have a note from Florida State here. Everybody in the media got it. But on Tuesday, 2 days after your birthday.
It's coming up, guys. Don't forget to get your presents in the mail.
They've got more newcomers available today. Destin Hill, among others, spoke to the media for the first time.
Today. That's right. He says he's further along than he thought he would be. He feels better than he thought he would be.
Wrapping up just at the strike of 1 p.m. for Seminole headlines on Tuesday.
Conrad Hussey.
Blake Nicholson at 12:45. He will have spoken for the first time as a Florida State Seminole here in Tallahassee.
Ready to dominate, baby.
That's your guy.
Very excited about him. You're right. He will have wrapped up with the press as we get set. It bucks a trend that I've got a lot of faith and belief in a player from California.
That is true.
It doesn't happen. Normally, players from California, ass. Soft.
But we've turned the tide there. Micah Pittman was from California, and he was tough, if nothing else.
He was very tough.
Johnny Wilson's from California. He makes tough catches. Sometimes he drops the easy ones, but he ain't soft. He'll block you into the fifth row.
Not soft.
And, who was
the other California?
The slot corner from years ago?
Oh, Harris?
Yeah. Michael Harris?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think that's right.
Mike Harris.
Mike Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one.
He was
tough.
Yeah. So we found the 3 tough kids in California. That's a miracle.
In history.
Yeah. Man, that used to drive me nuts. Well, maybe we got another one because I think this guy is. I think Blake's going to be a good player for us. Yeah, that list, by the way, you're alluding to, Tom, for everybody wondering. We'll get to hear from Florida State's new players. We'll get to hear from Blake Nicholson and Conrad Hussey and Edwin Joseph and Jabril Rawls. And then later in the week, KJ Sampson and Ashland Barker and Andre Otto and Dylan Brown and Turner. Yeah, so Dylan Brown Turner. Yeah, that'll be good. Excited?
Yeah, somebody actually just asked, why isn't Otto here with the rest of the kids? Why did he arrive late? Don't know, but he's going to talk to the media on Thursday, so maybe we'll find out. But I'm sure it's just, life.
Yeah, by the way, live spectator, no, you recall, Lorenzo Booker was not tough. No.
D-Rob's a good one, though. D-Rob was tough.
I never thought he was weak.
Yeah.
Look, some of it has to do with what a player is assessed as prior to their arrival. And some of it has to do with expectation of what a player is or is not, right? I think that's the whole thing. Some of it's unfair. You're a kid in high school. You had a good high school career. Somebody projects you to be a superstar. You don't become a superstar. And the guy on the radio says it's because you're from California. See, that's what happens there? That's unfair to you.
That's very transparent.
Unfortunately, you're a high school kid who has a great high school career and you're projected to be great, and you go to a school and you're not great. You're just okay. And then you're one of many from the exact same place in the same area of California. It becomes a trend. And it makes it easier for that said radio guy to point out that, well, these kids from California are kind of sucking, kind of not doing what we thought they were going to do. See how it works? It just becomes a frustrating aspect of it. And that's kind of what happened there for a long while, from kids originating from California that arrived here in Tallahassee.
Because they're from California.
Yeah. Like Khalil writes out, they don't drink water from the hose like we did. They drink Fiji water and such. There it is. I like it. The and such was a nice touch there, Khalil. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I did talk to a guy the other day. We were talking about old school. So it gets asked a lot, like, how come? And even we see this now. I see it in football games in high school. They have the water breaks now in game, like right in the late first quarter. Like, we got to stop and get some water. Okay, good. I'm glad that people are allowed to hydrate now. That's good. But when I played, we couldn't. It was held out from you. You'd have to run more if you wanted to get water. Like, inch that much closer to death, Jeff. And then maybe the water is yours. And we all know that's foolhardy. That's dumb. You shouldn't do that. I got you.
Because the line between death and excellence, very thin.
Yeah. So what I thought though about that was that it's good that everybody can drink water, and then in the water breaks, whatever. But I do think that fundamentally, think some things have changed. I don't recall, and I don't think you do either. Really, maybe it changed, but we're 15 years apart. I don't recall the horrific things of people falling out and dying or suffering from dehydration, all that at the rate that we've seen in recent years. Unfortunately, I don't remember that being a thing when I grew up. And this was the time where they withheld water. Now, you could say the proliferation of media means that we now know everything that happens around the country the second it happens. And so maybe it's just always on our mind because we hear it more often, but it was always happening. We just didn't know about a kid dying in Kansas because we were in Florida or something like that. Maybe that's true. But I think moreover, it probably has something to do, and I don't care. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I grew up playing video games. And you can see where I'm going. I think staying home all summer long playing video games instead of being outside playing probably makes it a little bit more difficult to adjust to being outside again and going through, say, 2 days.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the things that we did when we played outside as kids, because there were groups, there were factions in my high school and in my middle school of people who were more indoorsy and people who were more outdoorsy. I was an outdoorsy kid. That's where I came. My parents raised 3 kids from the 70s before they got to me. So the outdoors was the way to go. But I probably should have fallen out a few times because of the stuff that I did, And I'm not talking about getting into trouble. I'm just talking about all of the sugar that we consumed in my generation. The sodas, that was a huge thing in the 90s and the early 2000s.
It was a long time before people really realized that you ought not drink soda. It's not a form of hydration.
Right. Exactly. I'm chugging Mountain Dew Slurpees from 7-Eleven, and then I'm going playing 3 hours of hockey, and it's probably 115 degrees on the playing surface.
And then when you came off the court from playing hockey, you were like, "Oh, give me that Coca-Cola."
That's right. I need to give me an ice. There's nothing better than ice cold Coke after doing that. And you'd be dizzy, but it's just what we did.
Well, when you're outside all day, every day, and it's 98 degrees and humid and all that other stuff, yeah, man, I think that's true. You just play and you learn how to deal. And if you grow up playing video games instead, then I love video games, but there was a time and a place we would come in and play them for a couple hours, but we were mainly outside. We go from riding our bikes to playing basketball, to playing football, and you got water from a hose. And then you played some more basketball. You played some more football. We used to have BB gun wars in the woods. How unsafe is that? We were shooting each other in the face. It was great. We would do it all the time in the Christmas tree forest down in St. Pete. I shot my brother in the back of the head and laughed.
Oh, well,
there you go.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Get you some of that. Ran in front of the wrong guy.
Yeah. It wasn't until late in high school, probably college, that bottled water was the thing. It was from the hose. It was from the water fountain. It was from the sink. That's it.
Yeah.
That was it. And I got asked, was I on the Surge? Yes. Surge, Wild Cherry, Pepsi, Mountain Dew Code Red, you name it.
You were drinking pure sugar.
Yeah.
Pure sugar.
Surge was the best.
I don't think I've ever had a Surge.
Oh.
It was after my time. I don't remember Surge being a thing.
Beat Mountain Dew into submission. Not in sales, but in taste. Amazing.
I don't think I've ever, yeah. That's funny. No, I'm not the guy. I'm very careful when we talk about, the different generations. I'm very careful not to be the guy, things were so much better. I mean, look, man, there are a lot of things that are a lot better now than they were when I grew up. Equipment for starters. Football is a much safer game to play now because just improvements in the equipment that you're wearing, like that kind of stuff. But I do think if you're outside every day, all day, and I went from sport to sport to sport, I think diversification was very, very important. I'm talking about in the sports realm, it's true in life, but I think in the sports realm, like they pushed playing. If you grew up in athletics, I've told this story many times. So I played everything under the sun. I played 12 years of soccer. I played tennis. I played baseball. I played football in high school. I played football, ran track, did all that, basketball, you name it, all these things, right? I tried to play the seasons. And obviously you're better in some sports than others, but you would play whatever that sport that was in season. And so it was time to do this, and it was time to do that, and you went from one to the other, and all of that. So that's year round. If you do it right, you're playing something year round. And I just never, video games was a respite from that. Like when you needed the downtime because you were so damn tired from having spent 16 hours outdoors playing something.
Yep.
That's what you did. That is not the case anymore. And I don't think that's me shaming this generation. That's just the reality.
It's when you crashed at your buddy's house. It was when the weather was bad outside and you hoped it wasn't so bad that you lost power. Those were the principal 2 times for video games growing up. It got bigger as I got older. Madden was a thing. NCAA was a thing. Halo. Like as these systems got better, the Xbox, the PS2.
Oh, they got more realistic. You could get drawn in a lot easier. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I'd never seen anything like the first Grand Theft Auto. I remember thinking, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I can just run over people. I can just go sit up on this roof and shoot hundreds of people while the cops bring the SWAT team. This is incredible.
Yeah. GTA 3.
Yeah. It was nuts.
That's when I would put on, my buddy made me a 2 CD Bob Marley best of burned CDRs. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
CDRs versus RWs. Anyway, put those on for a couple hours and I would just be a taxi. I've told that story before, but I would just do taxi driving. Just because.
Oh, yeah.
I was tired of doing the rampages.
The music was fun.
It was great. You're just driving around, taking people to and fro. You're breaking the law. You're speeding. You're going over curbs and stuff. Oh, man. Hours of enjoyment.
Looks like Travis Rudolph, former Seminole wide receiver, was found not guilty. I hope that he is able, if that is a fact, gets a chance to kind of get his life together and go from there. I don't know what that's. Some folks are wondering now if he'll be able to go back and play football. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. And I don't know enough about the case other than what initially occurred and what we read. And so I'm not going to expound on that because I don't know enough.
I've got to ask James in the chat real quick. Is that correct? You can go to a fast food joint and go get Surge right now? Is that real? I thought it was gone. If it's there on the fountain, I'm going today. It's happening today.
You don't even drink soda anymore, man. What are you talking about?
The nostalgia.
The Surge. I want to get you the Surge.
I want a large nostalgia cup with some ice, please. I wouldn't get the food from the establishment he named. I would always go get
Zaxby's.
Some chicken.
You'd go get Zaxby's is what you'd go get. Everybody's got a chicken sandwich, Tom, but not everybody has Zaxby's chicken sandwich. It towers above the rest in size and deliciousness, as I like to say. Zaxby's signature sandwich. It's an extra large hand-breaded filet, 3 thick cut pickled chips in there on that split top bun. Comes with your choice of Zax sauce or spicy Zax sauce. It's big, it's delicious. It's only at your neighborhood Tallahassee Zaxby's. Your Tallahassee Zaxby's, a proud Golden Chief booster for 18 years. Go Noles.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Wooden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Wooden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, Fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Learn more at callpauls.com.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
So we just mentioned former Florida State wide receiver Travis Rudolph. How about we segue in a different direction where it didn't work out as well, and it's certainly not something to be happy about. I remember the days when I first started in radio, the battle between fan bases, in particular those at Florida State and those at Florida, and that show back in the mornings used to take calls, and it could get testy, it could get nasty, it could get ugly. We'd have the tit for tat, well, you're criminal and my criminal and your level of criminality and my level of criminality. And it was a bunch of people throwing rocks in glass houses for the most part. But every now and then, one of the universities would unfortunately really get on a run. Mass criminality. Lots of transgressions of the law would take place for one particular school, say Miami. Or later on, it would be a school that we could all gang up on that we agreed about. Like, damn it, how about what's going on at Ohio State, everybody? And then many years later, you look back on those days and you think about something like Dillard's and you go, really? My man got a hookup at Dillard's? We crucified him? This is nuts. Things that we've done. Hey, my friend Jerry worked at Moz Brothers and gave me a shirt for half off. Should I have gone to jail? So there you go, that kind of stuff. His name wasn't Jerry. I'm still protecting him. But then there were real things, and we knew in those moments, like, I don't know that we want to joke about that. That just isn't good. But if we were still keeping score, big if, Tom, if we were still keeping score, Florida has been KO'd. There's no coming back. The University of Florida won. They won.
I thought this was going to be about Dabo's brother.
This is about the University of Florida housing on one miraculous team a bunch of murderers. Not guys who ran afoul of the law with a scooter or a shirt, but just straight killing people. Ex-Florida Gators captain Tony Joyner has pled guilty, no contest, to murder. He's the second Gator of the Urban Meyer era to face murder charges. We can keep going. There'll be others. Former captain Earl Tony Joyner, pled no contest this week to the 2016 murder of his girlfriend. The plea deal calls for a 25-year sentence on the charge of second-degree murder with a firearm. That, according to Lee Court County records, he's credited with already having served 1,455 days in jail, will not be allowed to contact the victim's family, including his two daughters. Monday's hearing came 7 years after Abando was found dead in Fort Myers at the age of 26. That's all very sad. I'm not making light of any of that. Did you know this case was solved by Cold Justice, a true crime show on the television network Oxygen? I love all these true crime shows, and they're like actually solving crimes because they have these huge budgets, Tom, where they go back with these cold cases and they're like, let's re-examine that. And they did. They re-examined this case and they found that he killed her. He appeared in 47 games with 27 starts for the Gators from 04 to 07. You remember those years. He led Florida's defensive backs with 59 tackles during the 06 national title run. Oh, what a team, that 06 team. Broke up a pass, had a tackle on that Ohio State game, the national championship game. He was also a team captain. He was also a teammate of Aaron Hernandez, amongst many others. Lovely characters. Urban Meyer housed down in Gainesville while on his way to that national championship, multiple national championships. And I'm declaring them in retrospect winners. Winners of the who is the more criminal-laden program. It can never be unseated. Florida, you gain and win the title once and for all. Murderers abound during the Urban Meyer era.
Which is just so strange because
it's all crazy.
You know, when you're as stuck up and elitist as graduates of the University of Florida.
No. Moreover, Tom, very specifically, Urban Meyer's standards by which to run a program and the upstanding man he claimed himself to be all the while.
Right. It very much fit the Florida profile of nose in the sky as they speak to you. I just find that very fascinating that it's not Florida State. It's not Miami, that lives up to that championship belt kind of billing. It's Florida.
Yeah.
What do you know?
It was something to behold. Remember the admonishment of journalists who bothered to question the time to die bitch Rainey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who played against Florida State?
Oh, many did.
Yeah.
Many did.
But he was reinstated.
Either having hidden murder or assault. Yes.
He was reinstated for the Florida State game in 2010. I do recall that. All I wanted to do was
do the right thing.
Take pictures. Just came up to me, wanted to take pictures.
Yeah, that went well for him. I heard a discussion the other day, and this is certainly something that has to have been discussed by Florida. There was an effort at one time to try to bring him back into the fold. I remember they had Steve Spurrier introduce him, and I remember thinking also, it's never going to work, Steve. There's a big difference between you and him. And while you were annoying, I actually think you might have been a decent dude. This dude? This guy? No. Not a good guy. So much so that a man who won 2 national titles at the University of Florida is largely hated by its graduates and fans.
Yeah, to their credit.
And certainly administrators.
Mm-hmm. And he was before he left, before it was over. They said, oh, man, this guy's
not a good guy.
Wow.
Not a good guy. He's kind of sullied the reputation we've worked hard to build around these parts.
You know what?
You think?
Let's go grab his top lieutenant, Dan Mullen. Maybe it'll go better.
Can you imagine have been in that locker room? My God.
That was Will Muschamp's point. Hey, when I was hired here.
Guys, what did you want me to do?
They told me to clean it up.
I took over a locker room with killers.
I have cleaned it up.
Of killers. I mean legitimate killers, guys. I had to run off murderers.
Sorry we lost 5 games this year. It's a process.
One of those murderers I ran a 4-4.
All right, I get it. 8 losses is a little much.
Yeah.
But it's 80% of the roster. You told me to clean the place up. I thought you meant it.
I would have loved to have seen that Jeremy Foley conversation where you pull a guy aside. Now, listen, it hasn't all come out yet. There may be some things you have to deal with here in the short term that you didn't expect. We'll see if we can keep it under wrap. But just so you know what you're walking into, this place here was the house of horrors. You've heard of Den of Iniquity? No, man. We got nothing but killers, cold-blooded killers. Some have been found out. Others will down the road. We'll try to help where we can. Good God, man. I knew Urban Meyer was a terrible human being. You did too. There's overwhelming evidence of it, but damn it, man.
I'm trying to find the timestamp on this, but somebody mentioned, have you seen that there's a podcast with Tom Brenneman and Urban Meyer? And I thought, surely that is satire. And then I find...
Is it called Football, Faith, and Family? Are you kidding?
No, I haven't found that.
Okay,
no,
goodness gracious. That would be incredible.
This has to be recent because I don't think Tom Brenneman would be hosting a podcast on the Believe Network, but he is.
Oh, yeah.
Dialed in with Tom Brenneman.
I think he would. Yeah.
No, I'm saying years ago. I don't think he would have been doing this before the
before he got
Castellanos drove one to left field.
Yeah.
But episode 53, Urban Meyer. I'm
make it
dialed in
4-0.
with Tom Brenneman. Tom talks with Urban Meyer about his career as a college football head coach.
Urban, what would you say the key is to covering up spousal abuse?
What about mischaracterization in the media, Urban? How do you feel about that? We've both been victims of it.
Tom, he's the kind of guy you'd want your daughter to marry. Remember that one?
Yeah. Every time Tebow was on the screen. I think Tom Brenneman would have fought Gary Danielson for the right
to unbuckle,
which is interesting, given Tom Brenneman's exit. Stage left center.
Seems right on target to me. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' administration said Tuesday that 3 dozen migrants from the state flew from the U.S. southern border to California on private planes. All went willingly, disputing allegations by California officials that the individuals were coerced to travel under false pretenses. The admission of responsibility only served to heighten tensions between DeSantis and California Governor Gavin Newsom, his frequent political sparring partner. 2 planes arrived in Sacramento on Friday and Monday, each carrying asylum seekers, mostly from Colombia and Venezuela. The individuals had been picked up in El Paso, Texas, taken to New Mexico, then put on charter flights to California's capital of Sacramento. Alicia Collins, a spokeswoman for the Florida Division of Emergency Management, said in a statement that through verbal and written consent, these volunteers indicated they wanted to go to California. She also shared a video compilation that appeared to show people signing consent forms and thanking officials for treating them well. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Mecklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at mecklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 87. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows level off around 69. Clear skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. Highs level off around 91. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 79.
The FSU softball team is once again in the College World Series, and you can hear all the exciting play-by-play action right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Double play, ball game over. Seminoles
Cheer on the FSU Seminoles softball team tonight at 7:45 p.m. Sponsored by Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945, and proud sponsors of FSU athletics. It's Seminole softball in the World Series tonight at 7:45, only on Real Talk 93.3.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
At renovation of what they're calling, quote, the Stadium of the Future. It's a multi-billion-dollar project that includes developing the area around TIAA Bank Field and a critical piece of the franchise's future in Jacksonville. Yeah, you think? The rendering always looks amazing. It's always like a spaceship. Like these days, every single rendering artist's rendition of what it's going to be looks like a UFO. The outside always looks like a UFO. You saw the way they ruined Soldier Field in Chicago. I don't know if you did.
Yeah.
They added this big giant UFO on top of it.
We were there.
Yeah. It's ruined. It's
Aren't they moving?
I don't think so. No.
I thought the Bears are moving.
Well, they ought not. It's Soldier Field. You can't leave. Just remove the damn UFO you put on top of Soldier Field. Where would they move? There's nowhere to move from there. I'm curious. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't real estate somewhere, but I don't think they're moving.
It's a rumor.
Yeah.
But it's being, Chicago Tribune and NBC Sports Chicago.
I had an awesome time. I've been to multiple games at Soldier Field. I don't think they shouldn't move there. I think I like that location. And also what I would tell you about that is that stadium, prior to the again monstrosity put on top to modernize it, and I get the idea you have to do that in some cases. You know who did a great job, and you've been there too, and this is I get it, man. You cannot keep yourself in a position where you're going to remain and fall further behind financially those you seek to compete against because your stadium doesn't have the suites or doesn't have the modern touches of what we see being built all around the league. You've got to find a way. Very few have done it as well as the Boston Red Sox did it at Fenway, and as well as the Cubs have done it at Wrigley. You still get a sense of those two stadiums and the character and the charm of the neighborhoods that they're in and the feel of a stadium that's been in place for 100 years. You still get that in those locations. And it's a tough task. Now, in Jacksonville, that stadium's a dump. You could tear it down and put what you want there. A porta potty would look better. That's fine. Do it. I don't care. I mean, do whatever you got to do. Make it look like an alien ship. It doesn't matter. But some of these places have real charm and character. It's tough. You got to figure out a way.
I wonder what was going through their owner's mind over the last 10 years. Because I think in the beginning, there was a will to move the team outright to England, for whatever dispensation they would get from the league. And obviously they committed to playing a home game every year for so many years or whatever it was. But now with migration trends being what they are down to the Southeast, specifically the state of Florida, from all over the Rust Belt and wherever in the
Can't fit
heartland.
any more people, Tom. Have you been on I-75 and I-10? I mean, you can't fit anymore.
But if you're a franchise in Jacksonville, the city's only going to grow in DMA as
Well,
the
they have enough
decades go
space
on.
in Jacksonville. It's the largest city in landmass in the United States. It's huge. It goes on
Right.
for days. You could live in Jacksonville. Your friend can live in Jacksonville. You wouldn't see him for 3 hours.
But media market wise, it's only going to grow and climb towards the top of the rankings over the next 10 to 20 years. So it would be wise to reinvest there, even if you take a bit of a bath on it initially. I mean, Jacksonville is going to replace, a Cleveland or a Cincinnati.
Sure.
In terms of market size, they're going to be larger up the totem pole.
All right, Wilmer, I'll answer your question. I don't hate Jacksonville. Not per se. Where that stadium is in that area and where the landing was, that was all garbage. It was all, as I used to joke, pickup trucks, cigarettes, home pregnancy tests.
Yeah.
That was Jacksonville in a nutshell.
Andy Reid could be spotted there.
Yeah, but it's the Jacksonville beach is beautiful, and some of the surrounding areas there are beautiful. That coast is beautiful. I love that whole coast. So yeah,
It's Andy Reid and John Daly.
look at them.
They're at the
Hanging out.
landing. Oh,
Um,
every time Jacksonville, not necessarily our Wilmer, people from Jacksonville are very sensitive. They're like rabbit-eared umpires.
Well, they get picked on though. They get picked when they housed the Super Bowl. They got ripped because it is such a kind of a backwoods locale for a Super Bowl. Yeah.
But we do the exact same thing with our home.
Oh, I
city
rip
of
Tampa all the time. Or
Yeah, Orlando.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
no. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
That's
I'm an equal. I'm the JCS. I'm an equal opportunity ripper of cities.
What is the descriptor? Number 1 with Tampa,
Shady.
and then number 2, rode hard,
Put up wet.
That is Tampa.
Listen, they got a bus of whores at the Bucks games that you go and pay. I mean, come on. We've made fun of Tampa's expense forever. But I've also done the same with.
It's not untrue.
I've done the same thing. Jacksonville's always been, what it is. But there are plenty of parts of Jacksonville that are great. And the beach is awesome. And that, yeah.
What is the most dangerous area of Tampa? The end zone at Bucks games.
So back to the story. Sorry, Jacksonville. I do always get sidetracked. 62,000 seat open air stadium as it should be. And can we do that now? Can we do that, please, in places where you can do that? You have to do that. We cannot not have open air stadiums. Football is to be played outside everywhere, frankly, save for Minnesota. And even Minnesota back in the day, in my childhood, played outdoors. And I thought, well, that's crazy. You're trying to die. It gets so damn cold in Minneapolis. Nobody needs to be outside. That is nuts. That's why they have skyways. But Buffalo, it's interesting. They're talking about a stadium situation, too. I kind of feel like Buffalo does have to be outside. You can't, because some of the craziest games you've ever sat down to watch are those snow games in Buffalo.
Yeah. I think you've got to. That is correct. Because then Bills Mafia becomes neutered at that point.
Yeah.
It feels very
you have to,
stuck up inside.
The coldest game I've been to is Bucks Bears. It was in the 20s. It snowed. It went to overtime, and that was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I've wanted to go to Lambeau. It is hard to believe they play outdoors in Lambeau, and you would never have that be enclosed either. I used to think
it's going to be easier to get tickets to those games now.
I used to think one of these days I want to go to a game in Green Bay at the end of the season in the dead of winter, to be one of those poor bastards. It's 6 degrees at kickoff. I want to be in that stadium. I want to experience that. I'm not sure I want to experience that anymore. I don't think about it that way. My blood is thinned in my old age. I don't sit around going, yeah, put me in a stadium where it's 4 with a wind chill of -10. I don't know about that. That's a young man's game. That's a young man's game. In my 20s, I'd have made my way up there. I'd have gone. I'd have rode up to Lambeau or gone over to Foxborough or been where, I don't know.
It was in the last 5 years that you were at
At
South
Notre Dame.
Bend, and it was 12.
It was
with
12.
a wind chill of 4, I think it was.
I had a good time at that game, though. I mean, in spite of those fans and the sorry city.
Yeah.
Speaking of cities.
It's because they created their own Knoll City with a tailgate setup that was a bubble. You talk about a bubble and championship series and playoffs being played in a bubble. We had one before that Notre Dame game. That was awesome, the layout of that tailgate.
So Jacksonville will build a new stadium, and good for them, and they need to. That stadium sucks. It's time, and I hope that it is a state-of-the-art stadium, and good. And they have a Basically, what they're telling you is it includes a shaded canopy that will reduce the heat factor by more than 70% at the main concourse, is 4 times wider than the current one. One of the things, again, the NFL does a good job of whenever a city hosts or builds a new stadium, they come in and they'll help fund some of that and build it up so that they can house a Super Bowl. There will be a reward there. The stadium can expand to seat 71,500. And they have included in that the opportunity, the stadium, to kind of be manipulated in a way that allow them to host music festivals, concerts, international soccer matches, tournaments, the NFL draft, all of this. There you go. There's a brief clip of it mentioning the NCAA Final Four. They want to host a second Super Bowl there. First one didn't go all that well, but they're trying to get it back.
You build a new stadium, you automatically get a free crack at a Super Bowl. I mean, New Jersey did.
$2 billion. With the stadium improvements costing $1.3 and $1.4 billion, according to Jacksonville Jaguars president Mark Lamping. Lamping also said construction an entirely new stadium, and whether that's on the current site or somewhere else in the Jacksonville area, would cost an additional $1 billion. So they've been trying to figure out the project here. Shad Khan says they're going to figure it out. The development around the stadium, guys,
that's the key.
It's going to be key. Let's get the development around the stadium worked out for you.
Surrounded by hotels and bars.
Got to have it. So you don't have people in ships off the water looking in, yearning to be on land, having a drink before going into the Super Bowl.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They had to line up cruise ships out there. Just wasn't enough space for them. It was a mess. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. And we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months, no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, or 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Here we go. I hate to have to do this update, but I will note accordingly that the Pirates are trailing against the woeful A's. But I will also cheer you up by telling you about our friends at Power Mill. Thank you once again, Power Mill Training Academy, for supporting the Jeff Cameron Show and sponsoring Probables. Power Mill Training Academy, equipping your child, your athlete, with the tools necessary to reach their true potential. Camp's over the summer, so I know all of us as parents looking for things to do that are, fruitful for our kids. They'll have fun, learn something maybe. That'd be good. That'll happen at Power Mill. Whether it's softball or baseball, whether they're little kids just entering into the game for the first time of their lives, or they're really good players trying to become a future major leaguer of the sort, if you will, and everything in between. Power Mill's got you covered. Check it out, powermillsports.com. You'll see where you can book, and you can also sign up for a camp and do that. Explore the facility. It's gigantic. It's beautiful. Good instruction is a given at Power Mill. All right, cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Yeah, so Buccos trail, as I said, 9-3. They gave up 7 in the first. Roansy Contreras sucked. Some bum named Hogan Harris is having his way with the Buccos. Mariners, Padres, George Kirby and Michael Waka. We got the Tigers and the Phillies. Reese Olson and Zach Wheeler. Royals, Marlins, Jordan Lyles. Woo! If you're a Royals fan and you're 18-43, it's a toughie, but it's made all the tougher when you wake up and you have your breakfast and you pour that cup of Joe and you sit down with your waffle and you say, all right, who do the Royals have tonight? The Marlins, great. Who are we rolling out there? Jordan Lyles. He of the 0-9 with a 6'9", 8 family. Woo!
Here's something your dad would get correct. 18-43?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the president in 1843?
Yeah. Twins, Rays, Pablo Lopez, Sean Armstrong. D-backs National, Zach Davies, Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin, what's the actor's name? Corbin. Corbin Burns? Corbin? Who was that?
It's not Burns, because that's the pitcher. Corbin Benson? Corbin Burnson?
Well, who was that? L.A. Law? Wasn't that the show?
Third baseman, Major League?
That's right. Yeah. I couldn't remember that. John Tyler was the president in 1843. D-backs Nationals.
Did you look it up?
No, I looked up Corbin Burns. Is it Benson or Burns?
Yeah, it's Burnson. Did you look up John Tyler?
No, I looked up Corbin Burnson. I was typing in right here. Corbin Burnson.
You nailed it. Or was it in the chat?
I haven't checked the chat. It was a guess. I thought I was wrong. I may still be wrong. You sure?
Yeah.
Oh. Twins, Rays, Pablo Lopez, Sean Armstrong. D-backs, National, Zach Davies, Patrick Corbin. I just said that. White Sox, Yankees, Lance Lynn, and TBD. We got the Astros and the Blue Jays. Ronel Blanco, Chris Bassett. Red Sox, Guardians, Cutter Crawford, Tanner Bibby. I like that name. Remember Jim Bibby? No, you weren't alive. Jim Bibby was a very good player for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Mike Bibby.
Point guard. Dodgers, Reds, Noah Syndergaard, Brandon Williamson, Mets, Braves, Max Scherzer, Charlie Morton. Orioles, Brewers, Dean Creamer. Hey now, Corbin Burns. We got what a Corbin. What's going on? Cardinals, Rangers, Jack Flaherty, only Flaherty. John Gray, Giants, Rockies, Logan Webb, Connor Siebold, Cubs, Angels, Jameson Taillon, I should say, and Jaime Barrera. That is a look at those that shall result of the bup. Tonight, Wake Up Warchant, everybody. Wake Up Warchant live on Warchant TV right there. That's us. We're going to have it.
6 p.m., which is 2 hours before first pitch of FSU and Oklahoma.
Which can be heard right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, all right? So we'll have that. We will have that. And that's it. That's all, right? We got to go. Good work out of you. Oh, we got 6 minutes? What is
we
that?
got 2 minutes.
Oh, I thought
we got 5 minutes. Excuse me.
I thought you said 10 seconds. I couldn't see what we're doing there.
That was 6 p.m. for the Wake Up Warchant. That's what I was just holding up.
Okay. All right. That's what it was. I didn't know. Tomorrow, you and I will have to tackle the hilarious merger, for lack of a better term. I don't know. Would we call it a merger?
We haven't discussed that for 1 second.
No, because there's a lot more stuff. I wanted to discuss it today because it's hilarious. But the other reason I didn't want to discuss it today is because there's a bunch more stuff coming out now. Nobody knows really what's happening.
Yeah. Except that Greg Norman's out of a job. We know that much.
Well, and that was always going to be the case. But I don't.
That was the best part of the CNBC interview. And what about Greg Norman? Does he know? I called Greg just before this interview. Oh, well.
Yeah, no, I was laughing. I was still trying to figure out what was what and who was in the loop and who wasn't and what we are to believe and not believe and what does it mean and all that. Yeah, you got to believe Monahan won't have a job anytime soon, but will be relaxing on his yacht.
I think he'll skate. I think he'll make it through. Rory McIlroy said today when he was asked, do you still have faith?
Well, he said he felt betrayed.
He said, I do, after a deep pause. He responded, I do, which tells me that Rory knows that Monahan's untouchable. This deal secures the financial future of the PGA Tour.
Yes, it does. It's the public investment fund for the Saudis that now take over. But what I'm saying is that I can't imagine Monahan. Well, he won't have an active role in which he has to interact with the players.
Maybe not, but
he's
going to be well compensated.
Oh, he'll be taken care of. He sold out. Yeah, he took the money.
But he'll be PGA Tour affiliated. Even Jack ran to his cover.
Jack sounded like an old man who wasn't sure what was happening.
But he said,
I don't think we should do that anymore, by the way. Stop running to 90-year-olds and asking them their opinion about anything. They never know anything. Stop it. Don't do that.
He said the word charity in his response.
Right.
As long as his charities are taken care of at the Honda and at the memorial, that's all he cares about.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's the same thing he did with the political stuff.
I know, but it's not fair. It's not fair to ask 92-year-olds, 89-year-olds anything about anything. They're confused. They have very little sense of what's happening all around them on a daily basis. Stop asking them questions.
But the fact that Roy responded that he still has faith
and I don't
in
blame
Monahan,
him, by the way. They're tired. It's been a long run. They're exhausted.
That tells me that Rory knows he can't go head-to-head with him, that he's going to skate on this because the board loves him because they were bleeding money more than they were putting on. I think that's what was going to come
because
to bear.
They were up against somebody that has an endless trough of money, of course. Yeah. But neither one of these sides wanted the discovery to become known to the public.
For obvious reasons to both.
It would look pretty bad.
That was the golf that they played together in London. We can't let this go to trial. I know. So what are we going to do about it? Let's have lunch.
Yeah, let's have lunch. Anyhow, we'll talk about this at another time, or tomorrow. I think we'll know a little bit more about some of the details. But I know it looks like LIV dissolves, and this is now in essence
I think they might stamp LIV, stuff all over their exhibition wing. To me, what it sounds like, they said team golf is going to be a part of the solution. It'll be like the match, is my point. It's going to be the sideshow exhibition wing of what they do.
You can get players that didn't defect and didn't take the money to stomach the idea of the DP World Tour merging with the PGA, which is what they wanted to have happen anyhow, and perhaps even get them to stomach the idea that the public investment fund of the Saudi arm of the government is funding all of this, because this was proposed 4 years ago.
It was, and that's where Rory. A poor guy, he gets caught in the wash.
Yeah, but you're not going to get those players, not John Rahm or any of them others, to play under the banner of LIV.
That's what Rory said. This is PIF. This isn't LIV. I still hate LIV.
Yeah,
but we're talking about a merger with the PIF. I'm like, yeah, man.
But the good, yeah, he gets caught.
Whatever you got to do to save face here.
But he doesn't have to save face. It's Monahan that lost all face. But what I would say, and we'll have a chance to talk about this, but I think the players will go along with that because we're about to make a ton of money, obviously, and they don't have a choice because it's been agreed upon as this merger. But I don't think you'll see any of the players go along with any of the ideas of LIV. First of all, nobody watched LIV. Those last two ratings bouts, nobody was watching it. It's awful. It's a garbage product. And, nobody cares about team golf. Nobody knows who the aces are. Nobody.
The shotgun start. What are we doing?
It's stupid. The whole thing was stupid. All right, good work out of you. Maybe we don't have to talk about it. I think we
Yeah,
summarized.
it worked, though. It worked for what it wanted to do.
Depending. It certainly isn't a win for, say, Phil Mickelson, who's still wrong about all of this. But anyhow, there you go. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well. Don't forget tonight, the game is on here, 93.3, and Wake Up Warchant at 6. Peace.